Perfect. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Paulo Santana. I work at ABB as Infrastructure Monitoring SME. And today, I want to share with you my journey on creating an extension for Checkmk using AI. So to get started, perfect. I want to cover a bit of the problems that I faced when I started that maybe some of you already faced. So the first thing, we want to monitor everything with Checkmk without doing many effort. We want to do a lot of customization. We want to do everything natively. And sometimes we have a specific use case, maybe a legacy device, maybe a new integration that appears from nowhere that we need to make it work. And we can wait. So the first thing that we tend to do is go to Exchange, get an example, do some changes, and see if it works. But sometimes finding the right example or finding the right examples is not that easy, right? Then we go to the docs, and then we felt overwhelmed, because there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of things that you need to understand, and it gets too complex, at least for me. Then what ends up happening is that we have an extension that's not fully, that does not contain everything that it should contain, right? Because in the end, to have something work in Checkmk, you can create your local check that you deliver what you need. And you can also have active check, receive your arguments as standard rule set in Checkmk, and get it working. So if you go to the forum, you might notice that I might not be the only one. From time to time, we have people in the forum asking for assistance to create extensions for Checkmk. So maybe some guy stops at the beginning, some guy stops at our advanced stage, but it's something that happens. So what I decided to do, I decided to create my own extension. I decided to spend some time, see how AI could help me on that, and create something functional, something that will have the proper rule set, the proper manual, and something that I could share with others. So the starting point, the starting brick, was the check plugin, the monitoring script that will receive an argument and generate the output in a way that Checkmk could understand, right? So I used AI for that, and here the script working. Then I moved to the rule set and the server-side call. That was the most complex part for me. To assist on that, I downloaded several examples from Checkmk Exchange. I read them. I get some assistance in the forum to do the manual, because I was not able to find good assistance on that. And I was able to get something working. Then, when asking AI to create the code that I needed, I also asked it to include documentation, information that could be useful for anyone else that would look at that code later, and even AI. Then I got everything together, created my MKP, added to Exchange, and I was very happy. I was very happy that it worked. Now let's get to the environment that I used to work on that. So the first thing, I started using a VM on VirtualBox. A lot of people use that approach. Then I switched it to Docker Desktop. So the same environment, but in a much easier way. Also, to develop the scripts, I started using VS Code with Copilot and DevSSH. Then I switched to Cursor, plus Cloud, and Dev Containers. This part was a game changer for me, because I saved a lot of time in setting up the environment and get everything together. Then I covered the container. I covered the environment part. I also have Checkmk running. I have Checkmk running with my extension starter pack on it. And now we are going finally to cover a use case. For the use case, we're going to connect to a tool that I really like that is called Apache Guacamole. And Apache Guacamole is a web-based client for several protocols. And for this use case, we're going to connect to Apache Guacamole API and retrieve the amount of active sessions. Here is Apache Guacamole working, right? So we have a web browser, we have a SSH session connected to itself. Here we have the location where I can find that info. So in the settings page, I have the active sessions that are running. So at this moment, I have only one. And now we're going to do the demo. The first demo is basically creating the folder structure in Checkmk server. So we're providing the prompt, and it's doing the actions in the server, right? In Cursor, there's an option called agent mode that it can do actions in your server. So folder structure created. Now let's create the monitoring scripts. I'm providing the prompt, explaining how it should look like, the arguments that we're going to expect. And here, we can see that the number of active sessions is 0. Now let's go to the rule set. For the rule set, I'm providing a template to act as a guidance to the AI. Okay? So create this, use this as a reference, do it. And in the prompt, I'm also informing where the script needs to be placed. Okay? Now we're going to create the server-side call. For the server-side call, I'm providing 2 files as a reference. One is the rule set, and the other is a server-side call, because they need to be tied together. Okay? And restarting Apache. Done. Now we're going to do the demo. So here is my new rule set. I'm creating a rule. I'm providing the parameters, applying the changes. So no sessions at all, starting a session, and then the numbers switch from 0 to 1. It worked. And now the lessons that I learned during the process, right? I struggled a lot to have something functional. And the first thing was, don't try to build everything at once, because if you build something that works, when you try to build something together, it might break the first thing, and then you don't have anything at all. Try to document everything. When I was looking for examples, I found some code without any references in the documentation, and it was very hard to understand what it was doing. So try to add as many comments and information as possible. Regarding context, it's very important to be clear, to provide as many information as you can in AI. Because if you ask it to create your code without any context, it will create code that seems to work, but it might not work because you didn't provide the full picture to it. And he is not going to admit that it doesn't know to do what you want to do, right? So try to be very clear, try to provide as much context as you can. And the last thing, sometimes it's best to start over. So destroy everything, start a new chat, go get some coffee, I don't know, and start again. Because sometimes it gets too messy, and it's better to start over. And I believe that I covered almost everything that I was planning. Thank you for your time and attention. All prompts that I used during this presentation, everything that I use in my environment, in my my journey, you will find in GitHub. If you go to use this QR code, you are going to be redirected to Exchange, and then you will be able to replicate everything that I did here. I use a minimal extension for this presentation, but I also have an extension for metrics. I also have an extension with contain all-in-one examples that you can find. So you could select the best one and play around with it.